The only body at the international level powerful enough to compel Baku to release the Armenian prisoners is the UN Security Council. It is the only one that can apply real sanctions against a state for not complying with General Assembly resolutions or its own resolutions, but that will not happen as long as the Armenian government does not officially apply. This is the conviction of the reputable French-Armenian lawyer Philippe Rafi Kalfayan, who is working on the issue of the prisoners' freedom in high international bodies.
There are two ways to appeal to the Security Council. Either the General Assembly decides by a majority and demands that the Security Council deal with the issue of the Armenian hostages, or one of the Council's member states raises the issue. As you know, the Security Council has 15 members, 5 of which are permanent. They are the USA, Russia, China, France, and the United Kingdom. They also have the right to veto. Today, there are not sufficient conditions in the General Assembly, because first, Armenia cannot secure a majority of votes, and in any case, it has no intention of submitting any request, especially not to the Security Council. Thus, let's forget about this option as it is not realistic.
The French-Armenian human rights defender is not sitting idly by. At the beginning of this year, he started a process in the OSCE to urge the intergovernmental organization to conduct monitoring and observation of the trials of Armenian prisoners in Azerbaijan.
So the idea I initiated was for us to appeal to the so-called Moscow mechanism, which is a tool provided by the OSCE that allows for the launch of an international fact-finding mission. This mission consists of 3 experts selected from a list of experts accredited by the OSCE, and they are tasked with investigating the issues predefined by the OSCE member states. We have proposed to the member states that this investigation focus on the conditions of politically motivated arrest, detention, and trials in Azerbaijan in general, paying special attention to the Armenian prisoners, as we have emphasized that in the case of Armenian prisoners, there's also discriminatory treatment based on national origin.
Although the Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Armenia insist that they are working on the release of the prisoners, international law expert Kalfayan sees something different in practice during his meetings with ambassadors of OSCE member countries. It turns out that Armenian diplomats have not submitted any requests. On the path of serious legal initiatives, Rafi Kalfayan and his team face such problems, as a number of ambassadors counter that they cannot initiate steps because Armenia has not appealed to them.
Despite these obstacles, our presence, our oral statements, and our meetings with diplomatic representations show that we exist and that the OSCE must discuss this issue. Thus, we are reminding the OSCE and all its members of their obligations in this matter, because the OSCE is not purely a diplomatic structure from its inception. It was created to respect and protect the rights defined by the Helsinki Principles. This is, in fact, a means of calling all member states to order and reminding them of the Helsinki Principles. Second, this step of ours forces the governments of both Armenia and Azerbaijan to come out of their trenches. We have reached a rather paradoxical situation where civil society is calling all these governments to order, including those of Azerbaijan and Armenia.
Rafi Kalfayan points to the pre-signed Washington Agreement where there is no clause about prisoners and adds, the decisions of the International Court of Justice in the Armenia v. Azerbaijan case were the only victory that Armenia achieved, the only one on the legal diplomatic front, and Armenia gave it up, sacrificing that victory for the sake of a completely dubious peace. Kalfayan calls on Armenians in the diaspora and in Armenia to realize that what is happening today with the former leaders of Karabakh could happen to the citizens of Armenia tomorrow. Hazmek Arakilian, ReOpen Media.